Hello and welcome back to the best part of your week. Welcome back to another episode of Love, Death and Movies podcast, internet's #1 film breakdown and review show. The show that crushes watch lists week after week. Every month is a different genre. Every week is a different film in that genre. So follow us and everything. Join us on the ride and let's watch some movies. Ash, that's the first time I've done that perfectly. I just want a round of applause all around. We're doing this in front of a live audience at the moment. There's about 20,000 people in front of us and they're all just fucking on their feet. Sit down.
You can't hear them, but they're going crazy.
Sit down. The fire marshals are getting cranky. Welcome to another episode of the Love, Death and Movies podcast. I'm Ash. I'm joined each and every week by Pride of the West Coast, Ash. Sorry, we haven't done this in 2 weeks, and it fucking shows already. It fucking already shows. Ash, how are you?
I'm doing well, Harry. Thank you. I appreciate that intro, as always. I'm doing good. Yeah, bit of a busy weekend so far. Just got back from seeing Beetlejuice.
Don't say it again.
He might appear.
Yeah,
oh, wait. No, he's right there. Honestly, if Michael Keaton appeared as Beetlejuice in my room right now, I would not be upset about that.
That'd be pretty cool.
So, just throwing that out there. But yeah, I'm doing well. How are you? I know how you are, but why don't you tell the people?
I'm great. I'm on the mend. Yesterday, anyone that knows me, anyone who watches my content knows that I'm a huge... Well, I just put everything in front of me. My bad. I'm a huge Swans fan. AFL is like my pride and joy. It's currently finals. My team if you saw my socials last night, you would have seen I was screaming. So this entire day, I'm gonna have almost zero voice. So he's gonna have to bear with me. First round of finals last night, we won in the last 2 minutes. The stadium went berserk. People started lighting shit on fire. It was a great time to be alive. I'm at the height of my existence right now. I'm loving every second of it. Life is good. Work's crazy. Work is honestly, I've been at this job for 5 years at the moment. I love where I work. It's great. It's the busiest that I've ever experienced it, which is nuts. But that's not a bad thing. It's good to be busy. I fucking thrive on it, to be honest. I love it. But it just gives me zero time to do anything else. So
fair enough.
It's just one of those things. It's just like it's just crazy, but like it's you're building a legacy. That's what I like to call it. Ash is what I like to call it. But my entire life right now just revolves around my entire mental health as well revolves around the Swans. The beloved Sydney Swans. Holy shit! Can you believe what we did last night, ladies and gentlemen? Holy shit! We're recording this on Sunday, so any Australian listeners, they know what I'm talking about. They know what they witnessed. They witnessed glory. Holy shit! Oh, this is my. It hurts right now to talk. That's how much I was screaming.
You're only here because we're talking about your other love of your life, which is
It was Spike Jones. Oh, Nicolas Cage. Yep. Yeah, Nicolas Cage. Because Ash, we're continuing on with our month of Nicky Cage, the Cage Rage month of the ragest of cages. We did Raising Arizona, which I think we can both agree was great. Great film. So fucking fun. Just a fun fucking flick. Loved it. Unreal. We're continuing on with one of my favorite all-time Nick Cage films, which you haven't seen yet, which is Adaptation, which is directed by Spike Jones and quick synopsis, from the creator of Being John Malkovich, comes a story about the creator of Being Don John Malkovich. A lovelorn scriptwriter grows increasingly desperate in his quest to adapt the book The Orchid Thief. That's kind of the entire story from the get-go. There's nothing really to go into it. But before we get to our reviews, Ash, I'm all over the place today. I really apologize. How was your week? Tell me about it.
Yeah. This week was good. I think I don't even really remember what I did. I worked all week, I believe. Oh, Monday was Labor Day, so I had the day off.
What is Labor Day? I meant to ask you this.
Literally just a day that's designed to give employees the day off, but not every business is closed, so not everyone gets to have a Labor Day, like to relax and celebrate the fact that they provide and work. But anyways, I had the day off, so I think I just kind of relaxed and I did some revitalizing to myself. I got a pedicure, talked to some friends, visited with people, just get the spirits up before the work week.
Amen.
And then I worked, and then that's pretty much it. We didn't pod last night, which we usually do on Friday nights for me, so I'm all over the place as far as my schedule.
I can guarantee you right now, you'd be glad that we didn't pod yesterday. I would have been, if I'm already over the place right now, I would have been a scatter.
Fair enough.
I would have been an absolute disaster.
Yeah, I watched some good movies this week just at home. I finally watched, I saw The TV Glow.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I feel like I need to watch it again. I think that's definitely a movie that I cannot imagine forming your full opinion after only one watch.
Yeah, agreed.
So I definitely want to watch it again. Watched Orange County last night. Fun Colin Hanks and Jack Black movie.
Oh, I thought you meant you were watching the OC.
Oh no.
Oh, I was just like, fuck yeah.
I haven't watched that since like high school. No. Orange County
California.
the movie.
I would
I was on a
have.
little bit of a high school movie kick, so yeah.
It's so from California, Ash.
I know. Look at me. And watched the original Beetlejuice again, which is a perfect movie in case you didn't know. So,
Great movie.
yep, that's pretty much my week.
Great movie.
How about
Nice.
you?
Yeah, good. I also saw Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Won't say it again. I had a great time with it. I thought it was great fun. I got to see Speak No Evil early, the remake with James McAvoy. Really loved it. Thought it was
I
great.
actually am gonna like it more than the original. The original, just like something was off about it for me, but I love James McAvoy, so I'm hoping the story plus him.
James is fantastic in
Yeah.
this. He's a creepy
Yep.
motherfucker.
He's so good at that.
Sorry, I'm gonna be coughing throughout this entire thing, so I
Okay, I got you.
really do apologize to the listeners at home. He's amazing. He's exactly. It brings back like why he was so good with Split.
Yes.
Like yeah. So if you like that, you're gonna love Speak No Evil. It's can I read you out a text from I got from my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, because
Mm-hmm.
there's two sessions that I was able to get tickets to. One was on Monday and one was on Wednesday. And Monday I didn't go to because I saw a preview of The Substance, which is a movie I saw a couple months ago, but it's like one of my favorites of the year. Fucked up body horror. It's amazing. Go see it if you can. If you like body horror, you're gonna love it. It's great. But I sent her name's Caitlin, Kate for short. I sent her to go see because she likes horror. She's a big horror fan. So
Mm-hmm.
I got her tickets for her and her friend to go see Speak No Evil. I received this message at 8:36 p.m. on Wednesday, the 20 whatever last Wednesday. All caps, traumatized. Goodbye, quiet mind. Goodbye, sleep. Goodbye, joy. Goodbye, talking to people and making new friends. Goodbye, love for rural England. Goodbye, eternal flame song. Goodbye, my love for James McAvoy. Goodbye, my friendship with Jenny, who I took with me. Quote, fuck, Caitlin, is this what you do every Monday? And then I got a
Brutal.
text about 2 minutes later from my brother. So let me read it out real quick. So I heard you broke my wife. Okay. Movie's great. Movie's good fun.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was just like, well, is it really bad? She goes, no, it's just disturbing, and that's what makes a good thriller. So she was like, she enjoyed it, but it's like, there's a couple of aspects of the film that are like, if you know the story, you kind of
Yeah.
already know. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's like you understand where I don't really want to say exactly why
Hmm.
she thought it was fucked up, but you're gonna enjoy it. It's a really solid, great thriller. James McAvoy destroys, and I think that's all I saw. Yeah, because I've been working all week. But, Ash, we're not here to talk about Beetlejuice. But we're here to talk about adaptation. I've already talked about the little synopsis of it. The budget came in at $19 million for this film, which is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. And the box office is 32 mil. But, Ash, this is your first time watching Adaptation. Directed by Spike Jonze. Before we get to your review, Spike Jonze's filmography is criminally underrated. I believe he's only done 4 majors, which is Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, Where the Wild Things Are, and of course Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix. So Ash, what do you think of Adaptation?
Yeah, I thought it was good. This movie, it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. I'm not really sure if you're supposed to know Charlie Kaufman or like that. I'm not sure if you're supposed to know more about him before going into this movie because I can't imagine watching this movie and not knowing at all who he is. I feel like that
Yeah,
would be a bit jarring, but I did know who he was, and obviously I've seen Being John Malkovich, so I feel like that helped me because I kind of already knew the tone and the quirkiness and just kind of the aesthetic of this movie. I feel like because I've seen that one, which I definitely think helped me. But then when you add Nick Cage, I feel like I
it's a
didn't
good
love
addition.
Being John Malkovich, but I think this added something that didn't have for me, which was him as the lead, technically as two sort of leads.
Mm-hmm.
It really kept me going in the story because it is so convoluted. There's so much going on, and he's moving a mile a minute, right? Having like this writer's block and trying to figure out how to finish this script. moving so quickly that if you didn't have a really strong lead, I feel like it could be a total disaster of a film.
Yeah, perfect.
So he really made it for me personally. I did like some of the supporting cast. I thought the guy who played Johnny was fantastic. Chris Cooper, I
Chris
think is
Cooper, he
his
won an Oscar for it.
He was amazing. He was
Yeah.
probably my second favorite character. I'm hit or miss with Meryl Streep. I don't know if that's a hot take to say. I think she's fantastic, but there were times in this movie I kind of was like, But I think the other two really mixed with her.
Yeah.
Really kept
I
it up for
agree.
me.
I thought she was good to spotlight the other two. But she
Yes,
wasn't there to be like, holy shit, how good's Meryl Streep?
100%. But yeah, it's a really interesting story. And I think, even though a lot of us, like myself included, can't really relate to something like writer's block, I think we can all relate to maybe a type of anxiety or a type of fear in the world of like trying to push after your dreams or figure out how to, do something that you started or just learning how to navigate yourself in a social situation if you're uncomfortable. Just all these things that he's going through are so relatable. It's just told in such an interesting, quirky way. But I think it really works. I think that it's also very beautiful to look at. So
It's
many
a
of the
very well
scenes
shot film.
in Florida and some of these like moments where they show like talking about the book, I wasn't expecting it, but it flashes to these gorgeous moments and these flowers and it's just kind of unlike anything I've ever seen before. And it really moved me, but I'm a little confused by some of the things that happen. So maybe more watches will help me. Maybe you know more about some of the meanings of things, but honestly, I didn't question it too much. I just sort of was along for the ride and just was immersed in it. And I'd like to also point out that the voice in my head moves about the same pace that he was moving at the beginning of the film. So it was very relatable for me. So I appreciate that.
I love that, Ash. I love this film. This film's fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. You hit the nail on the head. This is a movie that you like appreciate more and more after each watch. So very much, you're on the right track there. Ash, do you know how this movie is made? Was made, at least. Let me give you a little synopsis. Ash, in the late 90s, Columbia Pictures set out to create a straightforward film adaptation of the book The Orchid Thief, which was written by a woman named Susan Orlean.
She's a real person.
Real person. They hired genius screenwriter Charlie Kaufman to get the job done. Well, he didn't. Charlie hit a wall of writer's block, finding the source material ill-fitting for a film. So instead of writing the adaptation, he wrote a story about himself trying to write the adaptation.
Oh my God.
He gave himself a fictional twin brother as a foil, who now has an Academy Award nomination despite not existing. He inserted both real, fictional, and fictional versions of real people in the story. He twisted the Orchid Thief into a Hollywood fantasy of his own making, including inserting the author who had not inserted herself in the book, and having her commit heinous acts. He found a way to merge that with the story of himself trying to adapt The Orchid Thief and using it as a meta-commentary on both writing and the inner workings of his soul. Now, and I can't emphasize this part enough, no one knew what he was doing, and no one knew he was doing this. Charlie Kaufman didn't tell anyone, except the movie's director Spike Jonze, until he was ready to turn in a draft to the studio, who thought they were about to read a screenplay for a movie called The Orchid Thief. Charlie believed he was committing career suicide, not in that tacky, this is too edgy sense. He straight up did not write what he was hired to write, and turned in one of the most bizarre, indulgent screenplays ever written instead. But here's the miracle. Charlie Kaufman. The screenplay was so good, it didn't hurt that Jonze was already on board, that the studio said, you know what? Fuck it, let's do this. And that's how the movie about a real writer and his fake brother trying to make the movie you're currently watching, but instead running into a fever dream version of the book they're supposed to adapt, got made. Oh, one final thing, the studio's reps, working with Susan Orlean, the book's author, still needed her sign-off. So they took her to lunch, got her drunk, and then delivered the news. And she signed it off.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, I just need a minute.
It's genius.
Holy shit. I feel like that information actually is kind of helpful going into it, because if you don't really understand the background of it, I can see some people being like, what the fuck is the point of this movie? Or like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? But I do feel like I'm glad I went in blind, because I got to just kind of immerse myself.
But now you're like,
knowing that, that's wild. I mean, I knew who Charlie Kaufman was because I've seen Eternal Sunshine. I've seen Thinking of Ending Things. Like I know who he is. I knew he was a screenwriter, but I had no idea how deep the story went. It's like so meta on so many levels.
It's
Holy shit.
so genius. Guy makes a writer's block, and instead of writing a movie about what he's supposed to be, what he's getting writer's block about, it makes a movie about him having writer's block about making the movie that he's supposed to be writing about. Like it's so genius.
But it also works on so many levels because the idea that a writer would go from wanting to like keep true to himself to doing more of like a studio-esque type of thing with like this crime aspect and all these crazy wild things.
Yeah.
That seems so real that would happen to people. Like they want to stay true to themselves, but eventually they kind of sell out a little bit because you got to get people to be interested in it, right? Or the studio to want to buy it. So it works on so many different levels. But the fact that it's real makes it that much better.
Yeah. Does blow your mind.
Did you not see my face? I was speechless.
Yeah. Good. Anyway, Ash, let's get into the movie. All right.
Okay.
Now have that into your head now throughout this entire.
You mean the movie, the real life scenario?
Ooh, except for the alligators. We open up. Ash. The film opens with Charlie Kaufman, played by Nicky C, in his dimly lit, clustered apartment, visibly struggling with writer's block. Charlie's attempting to adapt Susan Orlean's book, The Orchid Thief, into a screenplay. The book is a non-fiction account of John LaRoche, a quirky orchid thief, and his obsession with rare orchids. Well, first off, this sounds like I'm sure Susan Orlean's a fan of the show, so Susan, no disrespect. This sounds like the fucking most boring book of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Like
100%.
Okay, cool. We're all on the same page there. No disrespect, Susan. You do you, babe. But this, whoa, God, there's better things to do. Charlie's frustration is palpable as he sits around surrounded by research points, manuscripts, and a typewriter, trying unsuccessfully to make sense of the book's complex narrative and characters. The scene effectively sets up the central conflict, which is Charlie's inability to translate the book's intricate, non-linear structure into a coherent screenplay. He expresses his frustration aloud, questioning the very existence of the book and his own ability to capture its spirit. The moment is crucial for understanding Charlie's character, his self-doubt, anxiety, his intense pressure that he feels to deliver a screenplay that respects the source material whilst also being commercially viable. Charlie's frustrations is exacerbated by his lack of confidence and personal insecurities, which are further highlighted by his interactions he has with his therapist and his struggles with everyday life. The scene lays full groundwork for the entire film, for the film's exploration of creative paralysis and the challenges of adaptation, illustrating how Charlie's internal conflicts are intricately tied to his professional struggles. We get to his therapy session, of course. In this scene, Charlie's seen in a therapy session, of course, discussing his writer's block to his therapist. The room is warm and inviting, contrasting sharply with the tension that Charlie feels. The therapist has a very calm demeanor and practical advice, which stands in complete contrast to Charlie's ever-growing desperation. Charlie articulates his struggles with adapting The Orchid Thief and his fear of failure, revealing his self-seated insecurities and his creative abilities. The therapist tries to help Charlie by suggesting he focus on breaking down the film's structure in manageable parts and exploring how he can interject his own voice into the adaptation. However, Charlie's fixation on staying true to the book's essence prevents him from moving forward at all. The scene delves into Charlie's psyche and showcasing his self-doubt and the external pressures he faces, including the expectations of the Hollywood system and his own personal standards. So, Ash, after those first two scenes and the knowledge that all this is so true, and this is just a full representation of how Hollywood is, doesn't that just hit a bit more home?
Yeah, and I think Nicolas Cage just portrays probably the mindset of that, of Charlie, of a person in that situation so well. I mean, just that long voiceover he does about do I have enough hair in my head? I need to go to the doctor. I have a lump. Maybe I should get that checked. I need to go to the dentist. Just everything just on his mind. I feel like we don't get to hear what an anxiety-ridden internal monologue sounds like. I feel like a lot of us might hear it in our own heads sometimes, but to watch that happen, it's so powerful, and it's so heartbreaking too, because you can just kind of feel for him. He clearly is struggling from the get-go, and you feel for him, and then you have all these people around him who kind of don't really understand him and why he's in this mindset, and he feels very alone, I think, in that way of thinking. So it's showcased very, very well. And even though I wouldn't say it's like a situation of show don't tell, not quite like other movies, I do think the way they do it in narration style, mixed with just his activities of daily living that he's doing, it portrays it so like authentically, if that makes sense, what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah.
But it's done in such a way that feels so human, you know, it makes him feel like such a real person because he is.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Also, to add on to your point that everyone around him kind of like idolizes him, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's like kind of like it's to the detriment of him because like you definitely see that throughout the entire film that he not only has all these pressures for himself onto everything he's making, but he also
Mm-hmm.
is trying to please everyone around him.
Yeah, even his brother, who I think is a nuisance to him originally, you can just tell that he really, you know, his brother cares about what he thinks. And I'm very curious, I guess, like to get in the mind of Charlie Kaufman and understand why he created this fake brother, because this character ends up really being a catalyst for him solving his problem and really like maybe it's like the version of himself that he wishes he could be, you know, or that I'm not sure, but it's a very important character. So I find it interesting that it's not even a real person. But yeah, it's very interesting to watch like how much of a nuisance he kind of treats him like. But I think you're right. I don't think it's just the fact that he doesn't like his brother. It's that his brother looks up to him so much and wants his advice, and he sees himself so low that he just can't understand what all these people kind of want him around. Like even the girl wants him to hang out like at the party and like spend time with her, and he can't understand why. He just I can't. I have all these things I have to do, and it's really sad to watch. Like people want to try to be in his life and he's just so insecure and so blocked in all of his happiness. He won't let himself just enjoy anything.
Yeah, absolutely. You know who does enjoy stuff? Introducing Donald, which is also played by Nicolas Cage, and he's introduced by his stylish modern apartment. Unlike his brother Charlie, Donald is confident, outgoing, and successful in Hollywood. He has recently sold a screenplay and is enjoying the fruits of his success. The apartment is filmed with evidence of Donald's success, a stark contrast to Charlie's cluttered and disorganized workspace. Donald's presence is immediately charismatic and charming. He engages in a lively conversation with Charlie, offering him advice on how to approach his screenplay. Donald's success highlights the contrast between the brothers. Whilst Donald embraces the conventional storytelling and formulaic approaches, Charlie struggles with the complexities and challenges of staying true to the source material. The scene sets up a significant tension between the brothers. As Donald's commercial success begins to influence Charlie's creative process, Donald's confidence and success create a pressure cooker environment for Charlie, pushing him to question his own approach and consider more conventional methods despite his initial resistance. So Charlie goes on a date with Amelia, a woman he met through an online dating service. The scene takes place in a trendy restaurant, but the date is marked by awkwardness and tension. Charlie's insecurities and social awkwardness are on full display as he struggles to connect with Amelia. His inability to engage with meaningful conversation and his preoccupation with the screenplay continue to contribute to the date's failure. The scene highlights Charlie's personal struggles once again and his difficulties to forming romantic relationships. It underscores his sense of isolation and the broader theme of his disconnect from the world around him. The date serves as a metaphor for Charlie's broader challenges. He struggles to communicate effectively, whether in personal relationships or in his creative work. So Charlie meets Susan Orwell at her home, a picturesque and serene setting that contrasts with Charlie's chaotic mental state. Orleen, gracious and articulate, shares her experiences researching the Orchid Thief and her fascination with John LaRoche. The meeting is both enlightening and disorientating for Charlie, as he reveals his own personal connection with the book and her own struggles with capturing his essence. This scene's awesome because it provides Charlie with a complete deeper insights into Orlean's perspective. It also adds pure complexity to the adaptation process alone. So Orlean's candidness about her own challenges and her admiration for LaRoche's obsession further complicate Charlie's understanding of the book. The interaction underscores the difficulties of adapting a complex and personal narrative into a screenplay. So Ash, anything to add here? Anything that like really stood out to you at the beginning part of these sort of scenes?
I think I got a little ahead of myself. I was kind of talking about some of these moments with the brother and Amelia already. So I think I kind of already covered my thoughts on that. I think you said everything perfectly as far as the isolation and kind of speaking to a broader, message of kind of where he's at and what's to come, I think. So it's sort of just kind of moving towards, I feel like, that second act a bit with all these kind of scenes and really just helping you kind of get to know Charlie even more, while also getting to know a little bit about, or not a little bit, but you get to know a lot about the story itself of, John and Susan and the orchids and all that kind of while you're also getting into Charlie's mind a bit more. So I think these scenes are good, but I think the second to third act of the movie is really where it picked up for me.
Yeah,
So,
especially when you go like, because right now he's going to New York,
mhm,
to and start like, because the next part is there where he goes to the writers' workshop,
mhm.
and
That's a
that
great scene.
the what's his name, Brian
Brian Cox.
Cox. I love Brian Cox, and there's the scene in that workshop where he's talking to Brian Cox is like presenting, and you see he's just
Mhm.
narrating in his head and like of like what he's thinking and what he's going to do with this like this advice. And then Brian Cox just goes, "And don't you dare use narration! It's the laziest form of screenwriting. Any
Mhm.
moron can do that." And it's just like for a second there silence where like the narration stops. And you're like, "Oh shit, oh shit." I love that. I think that's fucking brilliant, to be
I
honest.
agree. I'm not sure if you're gonna get more into it, so I can pause. But yeah, that whole scene and then them having the drink after and kind of getting the advice. I think it's some of the best scenes in the movie.
Oh, wholeheartedly agree. I believe that is next. Yep. So, Charlie attends a writer's workshop where he presents his screenplay for critique. The scene is set in a stark, formal environment with other writers offering harsh feedback. I believe this is the section, sorry. The criticisms are pointed and brutal, with workshop members questioning the the validity of Charlie's adaptation and the coerce of his screenplay. Charlie's defensiveness and discomfort are palpable as he tries to justify his unconventional approach. The scene again deepens Charlie's sense of failure and highlights the external pressures he faces with the writing community. Um, Donald's screenplay, which adheres to a more conventional formulaic structure known as, what was it, The Three? I think that's what the name of it was.
Yeah.
Gains absolutely significant success. The film contrasts Donald's success with Charlie's continued struggles. Donald's triumph is celebrated with industry accolades and commercial success, highlighting the disparity between the brothers. Donald's success puts additional pressure on Charlie as he begins to incorporate more commercial elements into his own screenplay. Donald's influence leads Charlie to rethink of his approach, adopting more conventional storytelling techniques. The shift makes a turning point into Charlie's creative process, reflecting his eternal conflict between artist integrity and commercial viability. So as Charlie's screenplay progresses, it begins to mirror the surreal and chaotic elements of real life. The narrative and the screenplay become increasingly disjointed and bizarre, and this is where Charlie and Susan's lives kind of go intertwined, and and he starts basically becoming a stalker, reflecting Charlie's mental and emotional breakdown. The scenes here all feature a series of increasingly absurd and surreal events that blur the lines between fiction and reality. There's a lot of the times where he's just dreaming about Susan. He becomes increasingly obsessed with her,
Hmm.
and it gets really fucking weird. And the blending of Charlie's screenplay with these real life experiences create a chaotic and unpredictable narrative, highlighting the film's exploration of the nature of creativity and the challenges of adaptation. So this is where we get the reuniting with Donald and Charlie in New York, and they're both just like, let's go. They're stalking Susan. They just see her booking a flight to Miami, and they chase her down, sort of thing. They're just like, let's just go follow her. She's obviously going to go see LaRoche. She was lying to you the entire time we were doing the meeting, because she was saying everything that we want to say. Because there's the question of like, who would you want at a dinner party, alive or dead? And she's like, Einstein and Jesus. And
Yeah,
Don
smiling because I was just about to bring up that scene, but you
and
beat me.
and Donald very very hilarious. He's like, everyone says that. It's like she's definitely lying. She's the entire time she's lying. So they very much go. They go to Miami, and they find out that LaRoche and Meryl Streep are having a fucking affair, which is kind of hilarious. So yeah, anything to add here? Those type of scenes here, Ash.
Yeah, no, I think the moments when they're together in the hotel room, and then yeah, just Donald's kind of drive to want to help Charlie, I think is really important to showcase for his journey. And then also, yeah, them discovering that like site, which then leads them to see the picture of her, which then leads, I think, Donald to kind of be like, something more is going on here. We got to figure out, what she's up to. And that's when they see her booking the flight. But then, yeah, I think the moment where he's like, let me go with you or let me go for you, because Charlie's just so uncomfortable. He can't even have a sit down conversation with her. So I love that moment where he goes, he's just like, don't, you have to like be me though. You can't be you. Like, I love that whole moment where he's like lecturing him about that. Which is funny because Donald has really good instincts. Obviously, he's kind of, shown to have good instincts multiple times in the movie. So, yeah, I honestly really love when Nick Cage is with Nick Cage and doing his thing. He's just like, that was my favorite parts of the movie, honestly. Like, I did love Chris Cooper, but every time it was just him and Meryl Streep, I was kind of like, can we go back to Nick Cage with himself or other Nick Cage? Like, he's just
Yeah.
so talented. Like, you feel like you're actually watching two different people, which just speaks to how amazing he is. So, I guess all of this to say, I'm learning how much Nick Cage is. He's up there. He's got it.
He's got it. He's got the sauce.
He really does have it. So yeah, I was very happy to see how impressive he was here. But yeah, no, I think this next like third act is so bonkers. So I was just like hooked as soon as I found out she was lying, and then I kind of made the connection they were having an affair. I was like, oh shit, what's about to happen? This is getting really interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of wild. And obviously you see her with the drugs as well, which kind of leads you to believe that something's about to change and shift.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I don't have too many more notes. I've got like just a little synopsis of the final act, which starts off.
mhm.
Apologies with the meeting. I'll just recap it. So Donald pretends to be Charlie and interviews Susan, but is suspicious of her account of events because it's just too perfect. He and Charlie follow Susan to Florida, where she meets LaRoche, and it's revealed that LaRoche only wanted the ghost orchid to manufacture a drug that causes fascination. That's a really cool drug, I thought. LaRoche introduces the drug to Susan. LaRoche and Susan catch Charlie observing them, taking the drug, and doing the deed. So Susan decides that Charlie must die. And this scene's awesome. LaRoche very much is kind of like the good guy. He's like, we don't have to do anything. He's like, we don't have to do anything. He goes, no, he's seen too much. He must die. He must die.
When she
I,
said that, I was like, excuse me, you just
yeah.
became a murderer? Like what?
I love it. It's just like he's like he doesn't have to die. You haven't seen the greenhouse, have you? And then Charlie's like, yeah, I have. He's like, oh. He's like, well, you gotta die.
Trying to look for a reason not to kill him while
Yeah,
he's butt ass naked.
yeah. He's just yeah, exactly. So she forces him at gunpoint to drive to the swamp where she will kill him. Charlie and Donald escape and hide in the swamp where they resolve their differences, and which is a good time to resolve their differences again. And Charlie's problem resolve their differences and Charlie's problems with women. Then LaRoche accidentally shoots Donald. Whilst they're trying to escape and fleeing, Charlie and Donald drive off, but crash into a ranger's truck, which absolutely obliterates Donald. He gets fucked up. So Charlie runs off into the swamp and to hide, but is spotted by LaRoche. LaRoche is then killed by an alligator on the side, which really reminisces Jurassic Park. Clever girl. Before he could even touch Charlie or kill him. So Susan is arrested. Charlie then makes up with his mother, tells his former love interest Amelia that he's still in love with her, and he finishes the script. It all ends with Charlie doing a voiceover announcing the script is finished, and he wants Gerard Depardieu to portray him in the film. I fucking love this. So that is Adaptation. So Ash, anything to add on this last act? How bizarre it is, how bonkers, batshit insane it is, but anything to add and final review and score.
Yes, definitely something to add. The conversation that they have when they're hiding behind the rock, I think that is like the most touching, beautiful moment. As much as the conversation is really simple, just talking about the girl that, Donald would kind of ogle at, and Charlie tells him, his perspective of like, then she would laugh at you. And he's like, yeah, but it's not about her. It's about, how I like basically his perspective. And that, I think he says something like, you are what you love, not like what loves you back. And I feel like the conversation is very simple, talking about like this high school scenario, but I feel like it's really deeper than that. And that's like a big aha moment for Charlie. And I think he just looks over at him and says, like, thank you. And Donald's just like, for what? Like, what do you, he doesn't even understand. He's just kind of like, I don't know what I did. But I think that was like everything Charlie needed to hear. that he's not defined by his work, and that, he really is more than what he's been kind of giving himself credit for. So I think that scene is really beautiful.
I
In
like
the
that.
midst of all this chaos, there's still like this really emotional like depth to this film and this story. And even like with Meryl Streep when she's so upset about Johnny and she's like, I want to be new again. I want to be a baby. Like she wants to restart her life because her life didn't go as she thought. Like there's so many deep emotional cuts there and all of that chaos, of an alligator biting him and them being on a chase in a swamp. Like it's so insane. But I like that it stays grounded and has those emotional moments. Because for me, if it was just went from like what it was to being batshit crazy, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much.
Yep.
So I like when there's kind of those like moments of groundedness within it. So that's all I really add is just those two scenes I think are really important. But yeah, I love that he ends up going back on the narration. He breaks all the rules that he thinks that he was taught and not supposed to do, with how to write the screenplay, and he kind of gives in to the Hollywood-esque movie, um, kind of twist and craziness and crime aspect, which I think is really fun and unpredictable. And yeah, I just think it's a really unique movie. I don't really know if I fully understand everything, but I'm excited to watch it again. I think that Nicolas Cage is just at his absolute best. I think this is one of his best performances that I've seen. And Chris Cooper, again, fantastic second favorite of the movie. But yeah, I gave it like a high 4 out of 5. And I definitely think that I want to watch and just kind of try to absorb different things. But I just think it's very relatable in a lot of ways. Like, even though, like I said, we don't all experience writer's block specifically, I just think that there's so many things within anxiety and insecurity and questioning yourself or your purpose or, I don't know, not giving yourself a break when you need it. I don't know, just so many things like burnout, like all these things that you can kind of pull from, that make it a really grounded story. So, amidst all the quirky, crazy Spike Jones, Charlie Kaufman esque things in the movie, there's definitely some real things to chew on with it. So, yeah, I really loved it, and I think more people should watch it.
Really well said, Ash.
Thanks.
The score that you said, your score, the quote you were talking about, is Donald and Charlie next to the rock, and they were talking about his high school crush because I loved Sarah Charles. It was mine, that love. I owned it. Even Sarah didn't have the right to take it away. I can love whoever I want, but she thought you were pathetic. That's her business, not mine. You are what you love, not what loves you. That's what I decided long ago. Love that line.
I think it's so beautiful. It's like it could come off as creepy, like him saying, like, I don't care if she doesn't like me, I love her anyways. But he's not being creepy. He's just kind of from afar, like saying that's what it's kind of like with the orchids, like how they're all admiring them, like these flowers, like from afar, and all like we all kind of do these things.
Absolutely.
But he owns it. Like he owns what he wants and loves, and he doesn't worry too much about overthinking it. I think that's the difference between the two of them, is like Charlie overthinks everything.
It's like me and Scooter. I love Scooter. Scooter probably doesn't know I exist. So there's that,
Not fully, no.
Such a dog. Such a
Sorry,
dog.
Harry.
No, it's all good.
He's in his dog world.
Yeah, that's all good. I love this movie. I think this movie is insanely smart. It's genius. I think that everyone puts in a shift. I think it's just one of those movies that keeps giving every time you watch it. And this is truly like whenever someone says that Nicolas Cage is a bad actor, this is one of the ones that I like. Have you seen Adaptation? No, then shut the fuck up. So I think this is for me. This is on necessary to watch list. You have to watch this shit. I love Adaptation. But next week, Ash, what are we doing next week? Is next week the Face Off? Next week we're doing Face Off. Unreal.
With a special guest.
A special guest. I wonder who it is. We know who it is.
I'll never guess.
We know who it is. It is Nick Cage. We're getting him on to talk about Face Off.
Can you imagine? Him and Harry are going to switch faces this time.
Oh, I'd pay good money. I'd pay great money. What I would do with that face. That sounded weird. You know what I mean? Like just go around town with the face, Yeah, cool. Let's move on. So until next time, watch Face Off. So we can continue on the month of Nicolas Cage films, the Cage Rage month. But until next time, Ash, we're going into our little game of the show, which we've just got a couple of guess the movies for you. So I've got 2 movies, Ash. We'll do one after another. We'll do 20 questions each, and yes or no questions. I can be lenient if need be. But Ash, first film, what would your first question be?
Okay. Well,
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
it is Nick Cage month, so should I dare ask if Nicolas Cage stars in it. I might just ask just for fun.
What's the question?
Does Nicolas Cage star in the movie?
Nick Cage is not in the film now.
Okay.
He doesn't even
Just
star. He's just not in the film. Gave you that one for free as well.
I didn't mean Kate. When I said star, I mean, is he in it?
He's not in it at all. At least I don't think. Like, it'd be insane if he's in it.
If you're wrong, I swear to God, I'm gonna check after. Okay, I'm trying to think where to even go from here. It is getting close to spooky season. Is it a horror film?
I would say it's a, wait, let me get the genres. Yes. There's 2 genres. One of them's horror. I would definitely say that this is like I would watch this in spooky season.
That means it could either be a horror comedy or a sci-fi horror or a psychological horror.
It could be, Ash. It could very much be.
Okay, well, let's see if we can narrow this down to something. Could also be like supernatural, but that would just be classified as horror. That's not
good
like
show. Good show, Supernatural. Good show.
Sammy. Oh man. Okay. Did it? The Winchesters. Did it come out after the year 2000?
Yes, it came out. It was released between the years 2001 and whatever year this is.
To present. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is it perchance directed by your boy Ari Aster?
Good question. No.
Okay. Post 2001, something with horror. Trying to think. Did I like this film? Did I give it 4 or more stars?
Let me check your scores. You have given this film either a 4, 4.5, or 5. So yes, you do like this film.
Okay. Is it sci-fi horror?
No.
Okay.
You're on the right track.
Is it a horror comedy?
It is a horror comedy.
Is it Shaun of the Dead?
It is not Shaun of the Dead. Good guess though.
Horror comedy from after 2001 that I like a lot. Does it star? I feel like I just have to start guessing. I feel like I can't really narrow it down any more than that. Like,
how many horror comedies? You do love horror comedies, but how many do you like post 2000? Maybe
a good amount.
Yeah, maybe like nail down the decade.
Is it from the 2010s?
It was released between the year 2010 or 2011 and 2019. So yes.
Is it Cabin in the Woods?
It is not Cabin in the Woods.
Fuck. I was so confident about that. Horror comedy from after 2011. Is this Tucker and Dale vs. Evil?
No.
Fuck. There's not that many horror comedies that have come out in the last 13 years.
You still got some guesses. You're only on 12. You still got some guesses. You're good. When you think of it, you'd be like, oh, of course.
I just don't even know how to narrow it down more than that because I feel like there's not like a specific director or like something particular about that time frame of. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not like maybe I'm incorrect, but I don't think there's like a go-to horror comedy director or anything like that.
No, I'll give you a free one. This is a director or directors.
Yeah.
So that I wouldn't be like, can't you get spoilers? It's not Sam Raimi. Nothing like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my mind went to Sam Raimi as like the only one I could think of. Is it Ready or Not?
It is Ready or Not.
Okay. Yeah. That's like, there's like no other ones I could think of besides.
Well done. Jesus. You did it while I was drinking.
I fucking love that movie. It's so good. It's the same guys who did Scream 6, right?
Yeah. But you see what I mean? They're not like, they go-to horror directors, you know?
No.
I mean?
They kind of are. I just watched Abigail not that long ago. I actually thought it was pretty fun.
Abigail's fun, but they're just not like household name horror directors. That's what I mean. Abigail is fun. I thought it was a little disappointing, but I thought it was fun.
They took a long time to have anything really start happening, but once it did start happening, it got pretty crazy. Imagine,
Ash, in the marketing, they didn't say a fucking word about her being a vampire. Imagine if it's just all a kidnapping movie, right? They just even just call it Abigail. Yeah, keep it Abigail. It's all about kidnapping this like boss, and it's like it turns into a thriller of like the hunter being the hunted, the hunt. and everything like that. And then in the film, in the cinema, you're like, holy shit, she's a vampire. Like that would have been amazing. They fucked
I
up
will
the
say I
marketing
did
there.
not check out a lot of the marketing, so I didn't know too much or see too many trailers or anything. But I knew she was a vampire, but I didn't know how it was going to happen. Obviously, but I do think I get what you're saying.
That would have been cool. It would be cool. Ash, second film. We've got a second film for you. I technically have three if we've got time, but we'll see how you go.
Oh, sorry, my turn to start asking questions.
Your
Right,
turn.
that's how it works. Um,
Well done.
okay, let's see. Is this one from? I'm gonna ask a very specific time period. Was this movie released between 1980 and 1999?
No.
Okay. So older or newer?
Good
Older
question, to be honest. Like
I just want to get that's
you got
I
two
read
huge decades out of the way. Very well done.
where I feel like I know the most, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. Okay.
Very well done.
Is this a Spielberg film? I
It's
don't know.
not. It is not a Spielberg film. No.
Trying to change my strategy, trying to change things up here.
No, I like it.
Is it an international film?
No.
Okay. I don't know why my mind's going here, but is it a thriller?
I would say thriller is a part of it. Yes, it's one of the three genres on Letterboxd is thriller. There definitely is a part of thriller in this.
Okay. Like drama usually goes along with that.
Good.
Hmm.
Good. You know? I know.
Is it a Fincher film?
It is not Fincher, no.
Man, I'm feeling like I'm just not sure. I feel like you wouldn't give me a thriller from before 1980. So did this movie come out in post 2010s?
Yes.
Okay.
While you're thinking, Ash, I'll do my impression of Christopher Walken in Dune Part 2. Atreides it took the spice and hit it up his ass.
That's a great impression. We need to start a whole just like part of our podcast where it's just Harry doing impressions, and then we're just gonna post clips from that.
I think Dune Part 2 is one of the greatest films this year. Absolutely. I think Christopher Walken is completely miscast. Everyone's amazing, and then it's just like, did you hear the Duke? He died. Like, it doesn't work at all. Doesn't work at all.
No. No disrespect to him. He's great in
Unbelievable.
roles where it fits, but that's just not one of them.
That ain't it.
Okay.
To give you an update, it's not between 1980 and 1999, not Spielberg, not an international film. Is a thriller, not Fincher, is post 2010s.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna go with is the movie. Is it a standalone film? Like, doesn't have anything connected to it, like as far as franchise or sequels or anything?
Yep.
Standalone.
One and done. One and done film.
Done. Beautiful. Love it.
Shout out to One and Done Films, by the way. You're loved. You're loved here.
Can I be honest? Can I go on a tangent for just like 60 seconds?
Take your time.
I am really tired of all of this either remake, sequels that don't need to be done. Like everything is just recycled ideas, and I'm so tired of it. I'm like so ready for just movies that are fresh.
Yeah.
Like Love Lies Bleeding. I love that movie because it was fresh, cool idea. Like I just don't understand why everything has to be connected to something in some fashion.
Agreed. Everything.
I'm over it.
Agreed.
Okay. Back to business.
Let her cook.
Okay. Thriller.
Yeah.
I don't know why my mind's going to this actor, but does it star Jake Gyllenhaal?
It's not Jakey G, no.
Okay. I feel like I need to know another genre so I can kind of know like I feel like thriller's tough. Like you said, it's like one of the three genres.
I'm not like this isn't a spoiler because it's past 2010s. It's not like thriller like Seven. Like
okay.
there's just like overarching thriller elements.
Is it like action-y?
No.
I feel like it's got to be drama. I'm drawing a huge blank right now.
Try and nail down the decade.
Okay, you said it's... So is it 2020s?
It is 2020s.
Okay. Okay. Thriller-ish movie from the 2020s.
I want Ash to... Listeners at home, I want Ash to win this.
Okay.
You know, we're buds. But it's, you know, it's good for the clip.
God, I want to... Harry never has to do these, okay? He probably would get it on like the 5th guess, but this is a lot of pressure. I feel like I'm overthinking it so hard. Why can I not think of a single thriller type movie that has come out since 2020?
Maybe don't think about thriller then.
Okay. Movies from the 2020s that I enjoy. It's not a franchise movie.
Do I enjoy it, maybe?
Do you enjoy it? God, why am I really blanking so hard right now? Do I rate it 4 or more?
You rate it 4 or more.
Okay. Oh, wait. I just had a movie pop into my head and I lost it. Shit. Oh, that movie didn't come out in the 2020s.
What was the movie?
My mind went to Sound of Metal, but that's not a thriller, is it?
No.
And that didn't come... I think that came out before 2020.
It's much more drama-ish.
Yeah.
Even though this one's tough. It's kind of like a blend of a couple of genres. But it's like... I wouldn't say it's as drama-heavy as Sound of Metal.
Sentimental?
Sound of Metal. I
thought you said sentimental. I'm like, it's a sentimental thriller. Like,
no. Could you imagine that? No. This isn't as drama-heavy as Sound of Metal.
Okay. I don't want to ask if we reviewed it on the podcast because I just don't think that we've reviewed many movies from 2020s. So, God, I'm trying to think of movies that you've... Wait, am I wrong? Have we reviewed it on the podcast? Your face says otherwise.
Free question. No, we have not.
Okay. You're making that face like I should know this, and I'm drawing...
We've talked about the film on the podcast. We haven't used an episode of the podcast to... But it was like... It wasn't like... We haven't talked about it since we've been reviewing movies. If you know what I mean.
I feel like I should know you better and know what movies you've loved from the last couple of years.
Yeah, you should.
Is it from like since 2023?
Yep.
Oh, fuck. Bad friend. Shit. Would you consider Saltburn a thriller?
I might.
Is it Saltburn?
It is Saltburn.
Okay, I feel like that's a really hard movie to define the genre.
That's what I'm saying. It's blending of everything, right? That's why I'm like. That's why I'm like. Don't think of straight thrillers because I'm like. You can see there's thriller aspects, especially towards the end, but like throughout it, you're like, it's not really a thriller because like the first thing is genre is comedy. I don't even think it's that funny. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. When you said that maybe you love it, my immediate thought was either that or Poor Things, but I wasn't considering either of those a thriller, so I just wasn't going there. Okay.
Yeah, fair. Nice. Well done, Ash.
I did it.
We'll keep the third one for another guest maybe, I reckon. But that is the end of this episode of Love, Death, and Movies. Internet number one film breakdown review show. But please next week again, please watch Face Off to continue on our month of Nick Cage, The Cage Rage. But until then, I'm Harry. That's Ash. This is Love, Death, Movies. We'll see you at the movies.